just go right ahead and get started. I want to start keeping time, so I'm not going to waste time so that people will get used to coming on time. Okay. Today we're talking about client relationship management and client relationship management and retention for VAs. Now, this is a topic that not a lot of people will talk about. And most of the things that I'm going to say right now are things that I have implemented. These are things that have worked out for me favorably. Not immediately, but then in the long run. Basically, it has to do with your ability to maintain relationships with the clients you have. So, or you worked for, right? The clients you have and the clients you work for. We all know that there are clients or employers who are possibly from the pit of hell, but then we know that there are good people out there such that we would love to maintain a relationship with that person while we're working with them, so that even if at some point we are no longer working with them, they can still at some point refer us to someone or remember us whenever they have things that we can do for them. Okay. Starting with the relationship management part. So I actually just divided this part into 4 or 5 categories, right? And the first one is building trust with your client. And this is something you can do while working with them, while working for them. I'm sorry, I'm having my taste is bad, so I need to like choose something to make me feel better. So okay, so building trust with clients, right? Over time, I've had clients who referred me to other people. In fact, today I did a particular chat with someone who was referred to me. So it wasn't an interview, it was just a chat with someone who was referred to me by a client of mine, right? And so this is because while working for the client I worked for, she was able to trust that I am trustworthy and I can deliver value to some other person, right? So the first way definitely is to have a clear line of communication when working with clients. So basically how I do this, right, is that when I want to, before we start, right, definitely you need to list out the things like your deliverables, right? The client to list out the things they need help with, the things they need help with. And so you have you can clearly see what you can do for that client or what you're supposed to do for that client, such that if you do from number 1 to number 10 of it, you really deserve your pay and the client won't feel like they are just pitying you by, dashing you money. They feel like, okay, you're actually working for your money. So that will help you to keep a standard, right? So I know that what I have, task 1 to 10, is my standard. So if I'm supposed to be doing this thing once a week or every day of the week, task 1 to 10, I know that that is my standard. But what else? The other thing I do, right, is to go above what is given to me. Probably along the line, I find out that there are other things that I should do, right? Or that there are other things that needs to be done. So instead of allowing my clients to go hire someone else or allowing my client to do that particular thing by themselves, I can volunteer to do it, but I make sure I let them know so that they know that, okay, so it's not just, oh, I see a problem and I just go ahead to start solving it. I make sure I tell them, oh, this is the problem I encountered, this is the problem I saw, and I don't, okay, probably I'm going to do it, right? And then they know that, okay, this person is actually doing outside, not the person is actually not just doing your to-do list, but then outside of your to-do list. This is very, very important, especially the fact that the part where I said you need to let them know, right? So that you're not just suffering and nobody's even noticing that you're suffering. You need to let them know that you're suffering. So it has to do with transparency, right? So the second part of transparency in this case is sharing your updates. In the beginning, this was a problem that I had. Once I had a task, right, I went ahead to do it. Like, you just go ahead and start doing. And when you are now done, you can now say, oh, I'm done. But over time, I learned that sometimes it's good to, not just sometimes, it's actually good to keep them abreast every step of the way. So if you have 10 things to do and you've done number 1, you're currently doing number 2, number 3, kiniko. So you actually go ahead and let them know, oh, I'm actually doing number one right now. After number one, I'm going to start doing number three because number three is dependent on number two or something like that. And then every step of the way, you just keep them communicating, keep them communicating. The first illusion, the first thing it does is that it creates this illusion of you working hard. It creates an illusion of you working hard, and so they actually feel like you're working, right? A second or a third thing that I actually do as regards this idea of transparency is if a task, right, is supposed to take me 4 days to complete, say I was asked to do something and it was supposed to take me 4 days to complete that task. I'm actually going to say, okay, I'm going to deliver in 5 days. That's what I'm going to tell my client. I'm going to deliver in 5 days. And so what will happen is that I will try as much as possible to see if I can deliver on the fourth day. And so I'm doing this so that they know that, oh, they see that I actually keep to deadline. So I know that it's going to take me 4 days, but I give them 5 days. The first advantage of this is that sometimes things, I wanted to say shit happens, but actually, things happen. Maybe national grid will fall and there is no oil around your area. And MTN cable cut or something like that. Something can just come up that is outside of your power, right? You can't change it. You can't actually change that particular thing. So knowing that, okay, I'm planning to do finish this on the fourth day. And if such a thing happens, I know that, okay, last, I will still submit on the fifth day, right? So I usually do that like a lot where I find myself, I actually give an extra time. So it's supposed to say 5 days, 4 days, I say 5 days. It has helped me a lot. Also, if you're on Fiverr, you definitely want to do that. If you have gigs on Fiverr and you create a gig, because the way they set it up, right? If you're supposed to deliver that thing today, right, and you don't deliver it, because Fiverr also has this late delivery policy like that affects your rating. So if you deliver it, say 1 hour to the time to the deadline, it will affect your rating. If you deliver it, if you deliver it the next, like immediately after your time has elapsed, that's entered red, it will definitely affect your rating. So say I have a delivery to make on Fiverr and I've told the client I'm going to deliver it in 4 days time. I actually put 5 days, like I count 5 days and I put it there when I'm creating the order for the person, so that it will give me when I actually deliver it on the fourth day, Fiverr would say, oh, this person delivers on time, right? I made that mistake a lot of times. One time I was working for a client and she was paying me, we were working weekly. And so every week by Sunday, she pays me for that week, for the Monday to Sunday. She pays me for that week. The problem is that because she wants to pay me on Sunday, I'll now create the offer to end on Sunday. And so I'll now be waiting for her. I'll now be waiting for Sunday before I now deliver, which usually at that point spoils my response rate. So what I did was that I explained to her, see what happened, but please let me be setting this thing to Monday, but we know that it's on Sunday that this payment ends, and so you just explain to your clients if you get into such situation. Okay. Then, so that's about building trust, communication, and transparency, right? And then the second thing that I usually do, right, is that I try to understand what needs the clients have, right? I try to get, I've talked about this before. I try to get the full picture of what problems they have. So instead of just being that VA that waits for an assignment before I do it, instead of being that person who waits for a task before I'm able to, start something, I initiate meetings with my clients and ask them how things are going and offer to help, right? So putting myself in their situations, even before the meeting, I probably say I wasn't doing social media for them, but I probably noticed that, okay, there are some things, this, that wasn't mentioned to me. And so if I mention it to that person, it shows that I'm highly concerned about that person's growth, right? So being I would say empathetic, so to speak, but basically understanding what needs your clients' needs, right? So it's not just about those 10 things that they want, right? But getting the full picture. Okay, how else can I help you? Okay, how else can I help you? It gives a very good impression of you. And then it tells them that, okay, you're really interested in making the business grow and not just making money, right? Making the business grow and not just making money. So when you do things like that, that's what people, say that you're being proactive, right? Because you're thinking ahead, right? So now talking about the retention. Okay, I'm going to tell you a few of the things I do. The first thing that I do as regards how I try to retain my clients is that I connect with them on LinkedIn. So sometimes they might, because the thing about collecting emails, right, is that you just have their email, right? And I had a case where a client said she didn't remember my name again. So someone I introduced to Fiverr got her, and she said one time the client was sharing her screen and she saw my name there. She said, there can't be any other person there. So I said, I recognize the name that she said. I was like, oh, yes, yes, I know the client. She's into real estate. She said, no, that she's no longer into real estate, blah, blah, blah. But so I had the client on WhatsApp. And so I chatted the client up and she was like, oh, is it you from I met so and so person and she said she knows it. I said yes, I was just reaching out. She said, oh, I totally forgot your name. So of course I don't have an English name, fortunately for me. So my name is not quite it's not easy to remember, especially if you're not Nigerian or even if you're not Igbo, it's not so easy to remember. So she said she looked for me and she couldn't find me, and so she had to go with someone else. I know other second reason might be because my account was blocked, and so but then I have her on WhatsApp, and yes, she couldn't find. She said she couldn't remember my name, so I have her on email. I have her on WhatsApp. She couldn't remember my name. So, but one thing I actually what I go extra to do is connect with them on LinkedIn, especially those of them who are very serious on LinkedIn. So I connect with them, respond to their chats, respond to their posts, congratulate them, just kind of putting my face out there. I don't do it normally, but I need them to get used to, oh, this is that lady that worked for me at some point. And whenever they have something, they'll remember, oh, I think I can still remember who this person, how to get in touch with this person. So when you work for a client, don't just when let's say you people work for 1 month, you are supposed to work for 1 month, that's your contract with them. Don't just leave. Try to extend the relationship out of emails. And if it's Facebook, some of them are very good with Facebook groups or Kiniko. If they have a Facebook group, go and join and continue, chatting or responding to their comments. If they have a LinkedIn, do that. And then the second thing I do is that I ask them to recommend me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a recommendation section. And so just few of them, I don't really ask a lot of people, but just few of them, I ask them to write me a recommendation, especially if we worked on a project. I ask them to write me a recommendation. So if you probably go to my LinkedIn recommendation, you might see names that are not Nigerians recommending me. That's because I actually asked for that. So, and then the next thing, of course, you can ask for WhatsApp, but the reason why I'm not very keen on WhatsApp is because most of them abroad don't do WhatsApp as much as we do. Over here in Nigeria, WhatsApp is now an everyday deal. But them, I think they're even more into Facebook than WhatsApp and iMessage and all of those things. I don't know. So my point is you want to get you need to connect with them outside of whatever way you met them, including emails, right? Then while connecting with them, it doesn't just end there. You want to build a rapport. And that's when I talked about strategically commenting on their posts, strategically messaging them from time to time. Because I've noticed that sometimes these clients might just want you on a project-based scenario. And so they might not really have your need again. But if they have someone or they meet someone who needs an assistant, they would remember that, oh, I have somebody and I can easily just send you, connect with you or connect with her. And, it can just start from there. So I've had cases where people actually connected me to other clients. It has actually worked out for me in the area of referrals. Yeah. So okay, today we really don't have a lot to say. Today is the last day for the year. Next year we are going to move on. So as regards management, client management, there are certain things that you need to learn how to, learn how to deal with, especially if you have challenges working with clients. The first part will be clients that are just difficult. I've had cases where these people are just like, it's as if when I had the first meeting with that lady, I just knew, I'm not going to call her name, but I just knew that this person is going to be stressed to me because she was quite older. She was repeating things like you say something and she'll say something and she'll say it again over and over. I'm like, this is going to be very stressful working for this lady. And at the end of the day, we didn't even work together again because I just had to carry my piece. So there are some clients who are just difficult that you just have to carry your piece and go. But if you feel like, okay, let me just go and stay and collect the money, you just have to swallow everything in, especially because if you're getting them through platforms like Upwork or Fiverr, where you really need reviews. So you need to be very conscious of the things you say to clients or how you respond to them because they have a chance of giving you bad reviews, which would, affect your growth on the platform. And then the second part is in terms of renegotiating fees. Say at some point you're working with a client, right? And you now start taking on more things than was originally established. And this is not just you trying to do above and beyond, but then you know that these extra things that you're not doing now is actually weighing you down. You'd have to find a way to bring it up in a conversation and say, I think that because of this and this and this, I think that I would need a little bit more money than what I'm earning. And you want to attach it to certain things. Like in the case where say you're now doing you're spending more time in social media, right? Which means you're spending more data in social media. So you can say, oh, I'm now spending more data. So what I'm receiving or what I'm currently receiving is not covering for the extra data that I now spend, right? So you need to find a way to attach it to something you're spending on so that it actually makes sense, right? So that's that. Then the other part is like knowing red flags, like trying to figure out if a client is genuine or not, because there are cases where people just want to scam you. There's this case where when I was just new, someone just sent me something about, oh god, someone just sent me something about me putting up a number and snapping my face to it. It was later that I realized that that was verification, and the person probably used my face to do verification. So you want to be very careful as to whatever someone is asking you. If the person is serious, the person should create another. There's another case where someone tried to I don't know if it's scam. I don't know what I will call it, basically. I don't know what I will call that situation. But that what that man was saying was, if I send him my picture, he will give me $5. And I'm like, my picture for what reason? That's not what my gig is all about. I'm here because I'm a virtual assistant, and that's a gig that I'm. So how does it? I'm not that my gig is not in that that team, or so to speak, that niche of maybe personal asks and all those things. So seriously, became like he was really serious about it, and I was like, I don't have energy, because he was not what he didn't come straight. He said, oh, he's looking for a virtual assistant, so and so and so. Will I be ready for an interview so and so day? And I was very excited. I said, oh, maybe this is a virtual assistant role, or let me do interview. During the interview, they were like, oh, are you really sure you have? Then I said, okay, we'll now do one more. It was in the one more interview that the person was not saying picture. I said, no, 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 this doesn't sound right. Besides, I don't even know what they want to use my picture to do. And there are chances that that person, what is even $5? There are chances that that person will not even give you the money. That even if you start, because it's not as if I'm I'm a model. It's not as if I have those gigs that are saying modeling, fit model or face model and all of those things. So it's very important that you're very careful. Then the other set of people that usually come with this sort of shady deals on platforms like Fiverr are, no offense to them, we love them, they are our brethren, Indians, especially these Indians in the crypto world. If they come and they ask you that can you help them do a presentation, you'll be the one to do the presentation. They will just show you the screen. They'll just show you the slide and you will be the one to present it to certain investors. Please run for your dear life. You don't know what you're putting yourself into. There this possibility that they are trying to scam someone and they are looking for a face. Even if they say you use a different name, nowadays, there are wonderful facial recognition softwares. And meanwhile, we can be on a Zoom meeting like this, and someone can just screenshot this meeting without you even knowing that this your face has been captured. So it's very important that you're very, very careful about such possibilities. So I'm just going to give room for a lot of questions. All of you who have questions, even if it's not regarding the topic we just talked about, please feel free to ask your questions. And